I have a confession to make. I am a die-hard Android aficionado. And I have an attitude about that. If my adult sons were here, they would roll their eyes and make fun of my insistence that we are an Android/PC family. While my elder, Alexander, remains on the right team, I suspect driven in part by the amount of horsepower and storage capacity that he needs as a music maker, AJ has gone over to the dark side. And I guarantee that Reverend Tom is making a face, giggling over here, as he too, despite a short slip with Android territory a few years ago, is a dyed-in-the-wool Apple user. Now, I'm sure that Apple has their own version of this, but one of the reasons I love my Android is my SmartThings app. My very smartphone connects to my very smart tablet, connects to my very smart TV. And if I had smart lighting, smart window shades, smart sound speakers, and a smart security system, it would, according to the marketing, ignite inspiration, uplift my everyday living, create meaningful moments, and make my home a connected space that makes my life simpler, safe, and more entertaining. As it is, I do love having all my passwords synchronized and casting stuff from my phone to my TV. That's about as far as I go, but smart things indeed. Technology is pretty amazing, and the apps we use are brilliant. The Spot Hero app lets us find, reserve, and pay for a parking spot before we even leave the house. We can purchase a ticket and track the status of any and everything from travel to entertainment to the Uber that we call to get there. We can stream any piece of music, TV show, film imaginable, including sermons and gamers from across the globe. And we can search for all those smart things for our home and make a purchase of anything from any provider from anywhere on the planet and have it delivered, mostly the next day. So much smart stuff. Sewing machines that can download images and embroider them on your clothes. Swim goggles that can keep track of time and laps and display this information on the inside of the lenses. Shipping crates that call their owners for help if they get lost. So much smart stuff. It does help us to manage the complexities of life in the 21st century, doesn't it? Knowing you have a parking spot reserved beats driving around the back bay, circling one more time, searching for one. Knowing ahead of time what the drive is expected to be at any particular hour beats the stress of being stuck and late in traffic. Getting a text from the airline giving you status updates on that flight beats driving to Logan only to find out it's been canceled or delayed by weather. There's a lot of information out there and it can feel overwhelming, but these apps smarten up the information and give it to us in a form that we need, yes? Are you guys with me? You're being pretty quiet out there. Nobody uses any apps? Of course, all of these advantages, all of these advances are about communication, yes? In order for them to work, they have to be connected. Without a connection, you're driving around the mountains in New England lost because your GPS is searching for a signal. Anybody ever gotten lost when they were depending on a GPS? Or the power goes out and the Wi-Fi goes down and your smart things become just plain old washing machines or microwaves or lights. The messages that you program the system to text you, they just stop. The kids get home from school and turn on the TV instead of doing their homework and you miss that notification. Smart things need a smart network and a smart center. Because in truth, it's not the things that are smart, it's the wisdom of the network that makes it all so smart. And that, beloved, is where we're going today with this third week in our #adulting series. God designed us to be connected and always wants us to be networked. And this message from Proverbs, as tough as it is to hear, is about staying connected to God and to wisdom. This innovative proverb, for instance, portrays God's wisdom as a flesh and blood character who strikes out into the middle of human life and delivers a powerful message from God. And thus, we've got to sit up and take notice. Wisdom cries out in the street, in the square, right there, she raises her voice. At the busiest corner, she calls out, speaking her message at the chaotic entrance to the city. Wisdom does not hide here in the safety of a church sanctuary or in the calm and quiet of a Bible study classroom, but moves confidently into the raucous world of high-tech parking meters, self-driving smart cars, and not-so-smart human beings with their faces glued to their smart devices. How long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? Wisdom goes straight for the jugular, criticizing our tendency to grab hold of easy answers and simple solutions. How long will scoffers delight in their scoffing, she asks, and fools hate knowledge? Lady Wisdom challenges us to embrace the full complexity of this world that God has created and to plug in to a network of those who are exploring what it means to be people of faith. People of faith in a fast-paced, high-tech, culturally diverse, sometimes very divided, and always complicated community. Our problem with becoming wise is not due to the unavailability of knowledge. Can I get an amen? After all, wisdom's crying out in the streets and bombarding us through the information superhighway. Instead, our failure to gain wisdom, the struggles we have with #adulting, have more to do with our willingness to stay connected to the source, to be wired into the God network, to follow the guidance of mentors and friends and parents and teachers in a process of lifelong learning and discerning. We love the pursuit of advanced degrees in the technical fields of our Monday through Friday lives, but we graduate from Sunday school as children and often do not move beyond an elementary understanding of the Jesus way. We struggle to keep connected to the energy flow of teachability when it comes to our own faith and our own values and the way we live. We have a hard time putting our smart things down and attending to the smart reflections of others who are on the way. We're so busy managing work and kids and information coming at us, we can't find the time to go to a Bible study or a conversation about art or a chance to just be connected to each other for the sole purpose of a soul connection. There are so many opportunities in the church and beyond to gain wisdom and knowledge from each other. God wants us to be wise and connected, like smart things, networked, linked, and communicating. Smart faith, if you will, where one soul is connected to the other soul, sharing information and ideas, syncing growth and wisdom. How great is it when I can avoid a painful lesson because you have already had it, and I can upload your experience, your wisdom onto my hard drive? How faithful is it when you know the way to loving action and can share the link with me so that I don't have to spend more time than I need Googling the way? The Lord desires that we each be knowledgeable about God's will and Jesus' way, which is why he says through Lady Wisdom, I will pour out my thoughts to you. I will make my words known to you. There's nothing secret about God's wisdom, nothing cryptic or mysterious. Instead, it is as clear as the words of the Bible and as obvious as the life of Jesus Christ. There are the commandments, 10 of them, the Beatitudes, 9 of them, the greatest commandment, 1 of them with 2 parts, the death and resurrection of Jesus, 1 time for all time, 1 Lord, 1 faith, 1 baptism, according to the Apostle Paul, 1 God and creator, parent of all, who is above all and through all and in all. So the wisdom of God is pretty clear, isn't it? Based on the words of the Bible and the life of Jesus Christ. There's no mystery or mumbo jumbo or high-tech access passwords needed, but the interpretation and the application of these words of God, that's what takes time. Excuse me. That's what takes time. That's what takes effort. It's dialogue, debate, and discernment that give us a chance to interpret and apply. So how does the commandment, for instance, you shall not murder, apply to abortion, the death penalty, and the wars that are raging? How does the beatitude, blessed are the meek, play out in a high school sports team or a hyper-competitive business environment? How does the line from the greatest commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, balance love of neighbor with love of one's own self? Do the death and resurrection of Jesus remove the sins of our past as well as the sins we haven't yet committed? And how can we embrace one faith in a church that is so shattered and separated? Not to mention, how do we reconcile some of what has been done in the name of Christianity now that we know how much harm has been done? How can we figure that out? God's wisdom is clear, but it requires interpretation and application. And that's why we need not only to be wise, but connected. Lady Wisdom wants us to hear her and to hear each other. Because I have called you and you refuse, because I have stretched out my hand and no one heeded, and because you've ignored all my counsel and would have none of my reproof, well then, says wisdom, I will laugh at your calamity, mock you in your time of panic, and allow distress and anguish to come upon you. This is the tough stuff. The proverb then might suggest that if we break the 10 Commandments, we will hurt ourselves. If we ignore the Beatitudes, we won't know the kingdom of God. If we fail to love God and neighbor, we'll miss out on a distinctively faithful life. And if we turn away from the Jesus way and from the church that is Jesus's body in the world today, we will fail to make the connection that promises us our deepest joy and satisfaction in this life and the next. Ignore Lady Wisdom and we'll kind of be like an old-style parking meter stuck in concrete and standing alone on the street. Fail to take advantage of wisdom in a timely manner and we'll find ourselves reaping what we sow, what Proverbs describes as eating the fruit of our way, living with the consequences of disconnection and isolation. But pay attention to God's wisdom and to your fellow travelers on the way, and you'll become a spot hero, connected to God and neighbor, part of a wide-ranging network of interpreters of the way of Jesus, and guided by the Holy Spirit, which is, in a word, wisdom. You'll be smart stuff. The pursuit of wisdom, being connected, holding on to the center of Jesus' way is critically important today in this era of soundbite commentary and black and white approaches to complex issues. It takes real God-given wisdom to figure out how best to turn back the tide of hatred and division running rampant in our civic landscape. It takes dialogue and discernment to assess the benefit or the menace of today's scientific research. It takes a village to work for equity and justice for all and adjust to the economic, technological, and spiritual impact of a global pandemic. It takes communication and a powerful network of love to share resources and protect the natural environment that has been entrusted to our care. At the same time, this quest for divine insight promises to be a true advantage to those who stay connected and interpret those questions together. Those who listen to me will be secure, promises Lady Wisdom, and will live at ease without dread of disaster. Natural law, moral law, the wisdom of our trusted elders, the guidance of Scripture, all of these are for our own good. When we listen, discern, and act wisely, we'll be better off. The great medieval theologian Thomas Aquinas made the point that of all the pursuits open to us, the search for wisdom is most perfect, more sublime, more profitable, and more full of joy. So being wise and connected is not just good for us and our communities and the planet, it fills us with joy. Guided by God's wisdom, we can be for each other like the Navstar Global Positioning Network that can tell us which direction to head and recalibrate when we get off the Jesus way, or like the latest Whirlpool washer that senses how much stuff you've loaded up It sets your water level accordingly and recommends which temperature and speed you need to be using and sets off an alarm when you've gotten overloaded or out of balance. Or like the newest microwave that reads the barcodes from your packaging and downloads how-to information for how to perfectly prepare you and then sets the right time span and power level for your nourishment. Being wise and connected, that's how it is for our smart things these days, yeah? Being wise and connected is definitely the way to go for #adulting these days as well. The good news? There's an app for that, and it is us. May it be so in this body of Christ. Amen.